Hi and welcome back. If you had joined me in my private group, I do apologise. The settings when I went live I must have changed for some reason, and it was going live in my private group, which is for my customers here in the UK, and it wasn't live on my Gemini Crafts page, and that explains why my last video also didn't appear. So, sincere apologies. Hopefully people will find us now in the right place. I'm just going to check on my recording here and make sure that I'm indeed where I should be. It did say live, but of course it was going live somewhere else altogether. There we are. I found me. Hooray! So, welcome. And this is going to be part 2. I didn't want to stop part the way through, and I had planned 2 cards for this session anyway. So we're using Enduring Beauty stamp set and masks for our stamp set of the week. And this is the card that I made live on Monday morning, and we made in our coffee and card on Tuesday morning in Brackley. This is also the design that we've been making, different colours, whatever you choose, and that will be tomorrow afternoon and Monday afternoon. Hi Kat, thank you for joining us. I am in the right place, finally. So this was the card I just made over in our private group, and I will share that video here on Facebook and upload it to YouTube. So there'll be a 2-part, and all I did for this was I wanted to use this new wood grain stamp set. It's called Textured Timber, and this is my favourite one of those, although this is like a birch, but it's a little bit smaller, so I wanted one that was going to cover the main area. And this is it. So it's quite a big stamp. I'd say it's nearly 6 inches wide. Not quite the height of a standard card layer, but I used it to go across, so you can either have it that way or that way if you prefer. I stamped this and then just simply die cut it out, and in this case, hi Caroline, you found us again. Thank you so much for being so patient. And I just literally coloured it with some blends pens really quickly, just to show you that you can use the masks or you can use colouring of your choice, and that could be watercolour pencils, it could be inks and aqua painter, as long as you've chosen a waterproof ink. And I chose the blends pens. You could also use Stampin' Up markers, as it's a fairly small area. Die cut that out, and then with the die cut set you also get lots of different leaves, and so the idea is that I'm going to pop those around there. Let's tuck that one underneath, and then add a sentiment either going across, or I could twist the whole thing round, because this really does work any way that you want it to, and have it that way round, and then put a sentiment either across the edge or in the middle. So you'll be able to see a video of that shortly. But what I wanted to do, this large image, which I've got here on my Stamparatus, and it really does work well on a stamp positioning tool because it is a big stamp, and so it's a good way if you've got one of these. If not, you can put it on a large block or put it on your work surface and put your card on top. It's a little bit more difficult to line up if you do it that way. Okay, so what I'm going to do is a split card technique. I do this every so often, and basically what we're going to do is stamp 2 images in the same place on 2 pieces of card. One is going to be heat embossed and one is going to be coloured, and then what we're going to do is split them. You can do it down the middle, you can do it at an angle, and then switch the 2 over. It's quite a common technique. I've got a piece of white card that looks dirty. It's clean now on the other side, and a piece of Starry Sky. So what I'm going to do is stamp in Starry Sky on the white, and then on the blue piece I'm going to heat emboss in white. So let's do this stamp the heat emboss version first. The key thing is that your two pieces of card must be the same size. Okay, so I've just cut this big enough to fit the stamp on. This happens to be 13 by 11, I'm pretty sure. I've turned that round. 13 by 17. Oh dear, you can tell I'm a little bit tired, can't you? Okay, let's move this piece out. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this in Versamark first, and then I can stamp the other one in Starry Sky. Let me just clean off the stamp first. So I hope everybody is well that has joined us. Let me just see, make sure we're still where we should be. Yes, we are. Okay, so I'm going to grab my embossing body, just because I don't want any spare stray bits, because the white really does stand out against the dark colour. Normally I do this in white and Night of Navy. You could of course do it in any colour. Okay, let me get my Versamark ink pad. Here it is. And I'm going to ink this up first, having cleaned it off previously. And I apologise if you get a reflection from the plates. Okay, so I'm just going to place that down. And I've just put a magnet on to hold that paper in case I need to re-ink it. Okay. I think I am going to. It looks quite detailed. I don't know if you can see that on there with the Versamark. Yes, you can. Just. So I am going to ink it up a second time. And the good thing about putting this up in the corner is it should be in the same place for our second layer, like so. Yeah, that's much more defined. Hope you can see that. There we go. So I'm going to find my white embossing powder, which is here. Looks like it needs a bit of refilling, but I think it will be enough for my purposes. So I'm just going to tip that over there and add my white embossing powder, like so. There you go. Looks lovely. Just going to turn it over, flip it from the back, and I'm going to put the lid on here so that I don't knock it and the cats don't knock it. Okay, and now I'm going to heat emboss that. I'm going to do that in a minute actually. It might be a bit dangerous, but I've left it there. Now I'm just going to stamp the same thing in Starry Sky ink. I don't really need to clean that off because the Versamark is a clear ink and I have Starry Sky here. Okay, just making sure we're still live, that's all. Okay, so this is Starry Sky ink. So again, placing it all the way over. And you don't have to emboss the second image. You could do this 2 different colours. It works really well with a large image like this, with a little bit of an open area. Okay, so press that down like so, and lift it up. Okay, really nice crisp image like so. Okay, so I can take that one off. I will clear that while I remember. Clean that rather, as it's got Starry Sky ink on it. And you could repeat this with your sentiment as well. If you have a two-word sentiment, you could have half in blue and half in white as well. So there's that one. I'm just going to heat emboss this one here. Okay, I'm going to do that away from the microphone, so bear with me. Just letting this get up to heat. Might be able to see a little bit of it. Okay, just going to stop there. Secret of heat embossing: if you have problems and it's not embossing particularly well, or it goes flat, 2 things I would say is, one is make sure that you allow your heat tool to get to heat to temperature before you apply it to your piece of card. And hopefully you can see, if I just angle that, we've got a bright white at the top and a dull white at the bottom. It's quite clear on that. So you can tell whether all of that has been embossed, and obviously if you look at it you can see whether it's shiny or not. And the other thing, when you put your heat gun on, is just to work slowly across your card. You don't need to do all of this waving around, because all you're doing is distributing the heat all over the place. You want it fairly concentrated, not right up close. You don't want to burn your card, and it does obviously depend on the heat setting of your heat tool. Ours has 2 settings. The first one really is just for drying things off, and the second one on for heat embossing. So I'm just working my way around the image. If you want to make sure it's nice and flat, you can also do a little bit on the reverse. I'll just flatten it back down. And then before you do anything with it, just glance across, make sure it's all shiny. I can see a tiny bit there that I've missed. It's just dull in that very top petal. And all that would happen if I'd left that is that the embossing powder would have brushed off and it would have just been a dull corner. So now I've got 2 images. I've got white on blue and blue on white. Oh, hi Brenda, and welcome back. That is okay. And the reason why I was in the group was entirely my fault. I'd clicked a setting that basically said go live in the group, not on your page. Okay, so I've got 2 images. Now, because I put them on my Stamparatus, I know that these are in the same position. Okay, she says. I hope they're in the same position. We'll soon find out. So what I'm going to do is, I could actually die cut this and then cut it. But I want this background as well. So what I'm going to do is just cut this down, but cut the two together, so I know that I'm cutting in the same place. And if you're unsure, you can just put a piece of tape around the edges. So I've got a little difference here at the bottom, but I'm hoping I'll be alright. Let's put one. I'm going to cut that in a minute, aren't I? Okay. Alright, so I'm just going to trim this down, and let's take a centimetre off there. And the secret is definitely to do these both together. Okay, I want to end up with something fairly close on. That's that one. I need to go closer on the other side in a minute. Obviously you could also use a die to cut this. So I want this to be sort of in there, like that. And then I want this to be no bigger than 9.5, so it will fit on my layer, she says, hopefully. Okay, so they should look as if they're in roughly the same position. I think they probably are. Now I can decide how I'm going to cut this. So you can cut this corner to corner. You can cut it straight down the middle. You could cut it this way. What do we think? Do we have a preference as to how that's going to go together? Corner to corner, I sort of feel would be good. Let me see what's going to be like on the card, what space we've got. So let's have a look. Yeah, so I've got a little bit of space all the way around. So I think I'm going to go corner to corner. Let's risk it. But you can, as I say, you can do it any way that you want. The important thing is cut them both together, and then we're going to sandwich them back together. Okay. The moment of truth. So now we should have this combination, like so and so. And if you line up these edges, it should line up. If it doesn't quite line up with the pattern, then what I would do is line this back up together, even if it was odd, and then trim it a little bit further. So I could have done that the other way around. I could have cut across, but you want to make sure obviously that you've got it roughly in the same place before you even start. Have you not seen it before, Kat? You can do this with any image. As I say, it doesn't have to be heat embossed, but it really does stand out when you heat emboss it. But you could also do, for example, blue ink on pink card. As long as you had a light blue, pink on blue card. You can also do a designer series paper. If you have two pieces of paper that are the same, yeah, that's not going to help. Ignore me. Oh, the same but different colours, it would work. Okay, now I'm happy that those are going to fit together exactly as I've cut them. So I'm going to use my usual trick of turning them over and attaching them back together. And I can't see my double-sided tape. Oops. Sorry, folks. But I do have my packing tape to hand, which is a little bit overkill, but it will do the job because you're not going to see this on the back. So we've got one piece here, and I'll probably put 2 pieces of tape on, like so, 1, 2, and the same with this one. Turn it over with my scrappy piece of card on the back. Hi Fran, haven't seen you for a little while. I hope you're okay and not well, I don't know what your weather is doing over there at the minute. I haven't had Carry On to update us, so I hope she's okay. Okay, just got a little bit carried away with that tape. There we go. Okay, so now you've got 2 pieces to make 2 cards, and you could make them either in the same way, or you could change. You could have one, for example, in landscape, one in portrait, and it really doesn't matter which way you favour those. Depends on the image, obviously. If the image is one way, then you are a little bit more restricted. And so I'm going to pop this on here, and I think I'm just going to leave it. I was going to put a border around it, but I think I'm actually going to leave it like that, because you get the full effect of the switch of the white and the navy, or the white and the starry sky, I should say. As I said, you could also die cut these and then cut them, but I think the effect is greater when you've got more of a background. So let's pop this one on here, like so. You've got to love blue and white, haven't you? It's so classy, but I think black and white would also work. Ah, yes, time change. So what time is it for you now? I think I'm all out of kilter. Let's find another card for that one. Let's do that. So I'm just going to score this at 10.5, cut at 14.85. That's my go-to sizing. So coming up to 3 p.m. Okay, it's not too bad. All right, but I want to do the other one differently so you can see which you prefer. I could do it like that actually. So let's pop it down in the same way, but the sides are reversed, obviously. And my technique is definitely to put these 2 together. Don't try and fit them onto the card one after the other, because it's very easy to get them, especially if you haven't cut them to size beforehand. It's very easy to get them, you know, out of alignment of your base card, like so. There we go. Let me bring that one up so you can see it, and obviously it's all nice and glossy on there. And then with the sentiments, I could do one, as I say, in Starry Sky, and one when I can find my scrap of Starry Sky that I cut, which must be here somewhere, and I could do a heat embossed one on there. Oh, there they are, right in front of me, of course. So let's do that. Let's see, what have I got here? Just to hand. I don't want winter greetings. I've got You're Amazing, but that's a little bit too big for those strips. I've got this new stamp set that I introduced, I think, on Monday. Simply Said, from our new annual catalogue. A really good one for beginners, because it's got a little bit of everything. It's got some more informal sentiments: thanks, birthday wishes, just a note and hello. And then it's got formal capital letters. So birthday, celebrate, thank you, thinking of you. So let's do thank you. So I'm always in need of thank you cards. Although I do have a birthday coming up for a family member. Stay. I've got a feeling everything's going to slide down. So let's do thank you on there, and then the other one I'll do as an embossed version. So I do hope you'll give this style of card a go. Just going to have that a little bit further down and then trim it. Clean that off. Oh gosh, that's really bizarre, isn't it? Right, let us find my Versamark ink pad. It's here. Let's put this one away. Grab my embossing buzzy, like so. Let's put that along. And there's my Versamark. And for that one I'm going to use Happy Birthday. Go. Oh no, that says let's celebrate. Well, let's celebrate. I could put Happy Birthday in the middle, can't I? Just going to do 2 while I'm there. Lid on that one. White embossing powder. And we're done. Just picking that up carefully so that I don't rub it. There we go. Just going to flick the back. Heat emboss those 2. And we're done. So bear with me while I just heat this up. Without melting my work surface. There we go. Right, just going to trim those down, and that's the cards finished. So I'm wondering whether you like the dark blue on the left or the dark blue on the right. I tend to favour the darker side down to the left. Just for balance, but that's only me really. I don't know if there's any theory behind that. So there's a little thank you. I could use a die to cut that. but I think I've taken enough of your time this evening. So I'm just using the grid lines on here. Keep that relatively straight. It's going to be a bit close. There we go. Okay, now I need some scissors. There's some there. It's just beginning to get dark outside. Okay, so I probably want the blue one on there, and as a contrast the white one on here. What do we think? Does that work? I quite like it going across that, the middle. Okay, could pop that on with dimensionals. I'm just going to use some glue, but you could add some thread as well if you want. Okay, oh, I could do it that way. No. The way that I've laid it out, I think it works better this way round. So let's celebrate. That's ready for my sister-in-law. That's my middle brother's wife. And then the thank you. There we go. If I had some dark blue gems to hand, I could add those, or even just some plain ones. You could dot those around if you wanted to. It just depends really. I don't think it needs it personally, but you could definitely add those if you wanted to. Let me bring these up so you can see. So there's the one, and then this one. Very classy, very stylish, I think, but then blue and white does that for you, for one. And also, because it's not coloured in, you get that crispness of the stamp. Nothing to stop you colouring in these elements. And I did also think another design, there's so many things you can do with this stamp set, would be to stamp this and just colour in a portion, so do the spotlight technique. You could cut an element out and lay it back on top coloured, or you could die cut a portion with a circle die, for example, or a heart die, and just colour that piece in and put it back on top. So there's so many things you can do with this set. So Enduring Beauty, the stamp set, is available. The masks are available. Stamp set is £19 here in the UK. Masks are £10. The dies are £25. And that includes this one here that cuts out the stamp, and obviously all of these different, there's lots of different leaves and elements that you can use. And then we also had the new wood grain stamp, which is available from our online exclusives. So I hope you've enjoyed that. As I say, not a new technique. I've done this, I'm trying to think of the name of the stamp. I remembered it earlier, but I can't now. So a very similar stamp design to that. It does need something fairly big to make it work, and I find an open line design works particularly well, but you could experiment with anything you've got. So thank you so much. Do give it a go if you get the chance, and do let me know how you get on. Thank you for joining me. I have got some new kits to share, so I think I will pop online tomorrow evening, Friday, at 7 p.m. UK time to show off one of those kits. Otherwise they'll come and go and I won't have shown them to you. So thank you so much everyone. Do take care. Have a great day tomorrow. If I don't see you tomorrow for my live, have a great weekend. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.